Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
I have missed y'all so much. I wanted to, get in front of the camera, talk to y'all a little bit. I will, if you watched this before, if you're coming back to see a certain DIY, I'm gonna put right here at the bottom what time my DIY start, because I wanted to talk a little bit. Basically, I wanted to come on here and just tell y'all how grateful and thankful I am for all of y'all. I cannot believe the amount of sweet comments and prayers I received from many of y'all. Y'all have no idea how much that means to me and how much that meant to me. Every time I got a comment, I get notifications on my phone, and I would get teary-eyed every time I saw a comment or a prayer. And so a lot of you don't know, but I was sick. Just starting off, y'all probably are like, what is she talking about? So I'm gonna call it a sickness, but everybody knows that what I had. I was sick with the C. I don't want to say the word because I'm not sure if YouTube will get mad at me, take down my video. I'm not sure how all that works, but I was sick, and for like, I'm gonna say 2 weeks. I know a couple of people that have passed from that, and that's what gets me really emotional, because you don't know how bad it will affect you. And I just feel bad for anybody that has to, or that had to have grieved over a loss of someone. So like I said, I spent my time in bed in my room. I had to keep my kids out. I have four babies, 4 kiddos. My smallest one is 7, and that was really hard, just because he is a mama's boy. He's always with me, so of course that was hard because he had to be away from me. And then my husband is currently working out of town, but the good thing is I had my mother-in-law. Oh my gosh, she is the best. She helped me so much. She came, she would feed the kids, she came and cleaned my house while I was sick, and she helped me a lot. And it was so bad. I did not think that I would get that bad. Literally, if you read my message on, or my post on my community tab on YouTube, I literally could not even pick up my phone. It sounds crazy, like it's not something that you would really even think to believe, but that is how bad it was. I was trying to find the words because I knew I had to explain to y'all, like, okay, where am I, right? So I wanted to type something up here just so y'all knew that I wasn't just quitting YouTube, or, it literally took me like that night and the next day to finally type that up, because I had no energy and my body was hurting, and I had fever. I had a bad cough that my kids are home. It's summertime, so you might hear that. Hear them talking in the background of the TV. I was coughing so much that my stomach started hurting. You know how your stomach starts to get kind of like if you're doing sit-ups or something, it was hurting every time I coughed. And then what got really weird or crazy, which is the whole shortness of breath thing. I did not think that was gonna happen, because at first it didn't, but I started to notice it once I started coughing. I couldn't breathe, and that was scary. I would walk to the restroom. My restroom is in my room, and I could not breathe. It was scary. And another thing was just me going to sleep. I had to make sure I was laying on my back. Sometimes, when you're moving in the middle of the night, I would wake up like on my side or something, and I could not breathe. The whole not being able to breathe woke me up. So if I was moving around and I woke up laying on my side or my stomach, I could not breathe, and that would wake me up. So I know everybody pretty much knows the whole, all the symptoms of, the sickness, and but I just kind of wanted to fill you in on what I went through, and it was horrible. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for all of the prayers, all of the comments. That meant so much to me. I was talking to my grandma, and I was kind of mentioning to her about the whole, complete strangers praying for me, and it just would get me like right there. And I would tell my grandma, like, God, you can't believe that. Like, it's really sweet. So thank you so much. If you are watching, or if you stayed to the end to, see what was going on with me and all that. And I just want to say I am going to continue to pray for everyone, because this is not over. If you have went through this, I had so many of y'all tell me that y'all have went through this, and just in different ways. And I'm so sorry, especially if you have lost someone. That is so hard, and I am truly sorry for that. I hope you coming to my videos, watching my DIYs, kind of puts, a little smile on your face, and just gets you into that whole crafting mood. This is supposed to be a happy place. So that's what I want, and that's why I decided to start this, about 3 years ago. So let's get into the DIYs. I love y'all so much. Thank you for coming to watch my newest DIYs. So for the first DIY, I'm going to use 6 5x7 canvases from Dollar Tree. I remove the canvases from each one of them, and now I'm just left with 6 really pretty frames. I love the color of the 5x7 frames. Now this other one is I think this was a 6x8 frame, and you see the color. I know it's kind of all messed up because I used it before, but the color of the 6x8 frames are definitely more yellow. I'm going to start off by gluing 2 frames together, and I'm going to have 2 pairs of these. So all of my DIYs today are planters that I was inspired from off of Pinterest and Instagram. Mines are just more, some of them are more on the smaller version, because a lot of the planters I've seen are like really huge planters that would be like outdoors. So I also got inspired off of YouTube. There's been many DIYers who have done this. It's really popular right now to make planters, DIY planters. So I decided to do that, and I was just inspired by many DIYers off of YouTube. Some of my favorite DIYers. Okay, so you see how I have the 2 double frames? These are going to go at the bottom. And those 2 single ones that are left, those are going to be glued, one on each of the top ones, just like this. And I'm just going to hot glue that at the top. So I just have them standing alone, just like this. And I'm going to use 3 giant craft sticks, cut off the round ends. I am going to connect these frames by gluing 3 of them right here. And that is the reason why I decided to do double frames on the bottom, so they stand up well, rather than it just being single frames at the bottom. Both of these are from the Dollar Tree. So I have 100 pack of bamboo skewers, and of course the 10 pack of the regular dowels. I'm going to use the bamboo skewers because, there's a lot of them, and it's way cheaper to do it this way. So I only used about, I think, 19 on our 4 sides, so about 76, I believe. Now you can go different ways about this on doing this part. Now for the planter is going to be on the top where the flowers are going to go, and I want to cover all 4 sides with them. So I'm going to hot glue down these skewers. Now all I'm going to do is just figure out about how long they need to be and cut them very easily. They cut very, very easily since they're so thin with my stem cutters. And then I'm just going to hot glue them down all along on all 4 sides at the top right here. You can use craft sticks. You can use the giant craft sticks, the ones that I just used just now that I hot glued down. You can use anything that you can think of. So I decided to use this, and I think it gave it a very unique look. So this is about how far I'm going to hot glue each one of these skewers from each other. I really love the way that looks. So now I'm just gonna do the opposite side now. All right, now for the two smaller sides, I was mistaken. I did not use 76 because on these two sides, of course, they're smaller. So I only needed one skewer to do 2 rows. So I guess about 10 of them or 9 of them on each of these smaller sides of this planter. So I'm going to cut those and then do the same thing and hot glue them on the sides. So now we're all done with the planter, and the last little detail I wanted to do was just cover up the staples right here with a Dollar Tree craft stick. At the bottom for the 2 double frames, you can see the staples. I'm not sure if you can see it right here, but you will be able to see it. So when you hot glue those 2 together, face the staples inward and hot glue the frames staple to staple, if that makes sense. That way you won't be able to see them once you completely finish the planter. You can put any type of flowers or greenery in here. What I did was pick up some Dollar Tree ferns and I folded them at the bottom and I put 3 of them in here. So for DIY number 2, I am using this Dollar Tree tray. And for this planter, I am making a trellis with this. This is really simple. All I did was take some Dollar Tree dowels, and I did not cut these 2 down that I'm going to use, and I hot glued 2 of them down on each side of the tray on the back side. And as you can see, I apply a lot of hot glue right there, so I can stick it on top of it and then I'll hold it in place, make sure it's pretty straight, and I'll do the same on the opposite side. Baby, it's now or never. Gotta leave this town and I know what you're asking for. Once those were dried really well, I cut a piece to fit at the top right here, and I'm just gonna add hot glue and hot glue that part down. Once that was done, I laid it down and I grabbed those really thin skewers that I still have a lot of, and I'm just gonna figure out about how far apart and how many I want, and I'm going at a diagonal going from left to right first. So now that I have that part done, as you can see, I turned it around on the opposite side to go the opposite way from, what did I say earlier? I think from, I was going left to right, so now I'm going right to left, but I turned around on the back side just so you won't see all of this hot glue on the other side. And so the last thing I did before adding the greenery was use my antique wax all over this, and I used a little bit of water on my brush so it wasn't super dark.
Lost outside of nowhere, a stormy rain tried to wash away the dream. Staff wanted scissors worn outside, and the diner's name is California Dreams.
I added greenery at the bottom of the tray from Dollar Tree. All I did was just remove the greenery from the stems by just pulling it off. So now what I'm going to do is just add 2 of the greenery pieces on each side, kind of going up on the sides, just to make it look a little more full, and it looks prettier like that too. This would also be really pretty if you made another one of these and you can put them on the wall as sconces. I just think that would be super pretty too. For DIY number 3, I'm using this Dollar Tree garden planter box. I'm going to add a piece of floral foam on one side of it. You could just put it all at the bottom of this, that way you won't have to add so many stones like I'm going to do right here. I got this pack from Dollar Tree. I got 2 of them. I should have gotten 3 because I think it would have looked a little more fuller with the rocks, but you could, like I said, put floral foam all along the bottom. I just didn't have enough. I completely forgot to pick more up, and so I just added it on one side. I really only needed it on one side because I'm going to stick a piece of dowel in there to put a sign. But like I said, you wouldn't have to put so many stones if you had more floral foam. I'm also going to use these other 2 Dollar Tree items. I found an LED lantern from there. So it has one of those little LED candle lights. And I'm going to hang that on top of this Dollar Tree sign. But the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and paint it white. What I did was paint this front part white, which you shouldn't do because it's kind of like, it has a piece of like paper on it, so it doesn't even really dry well. So what I went ahead and did was turn it around the opposite side and painted the cardboard white. That's going to give me a good base coat so I can use another paint on top of it. So once that was dry, I went ahead and put this antique wax on top of it with a bristled brush so it looks kind of like real wood. Now I'm going to take this chalk writer from Dollar Tree and I'm just going to write out welcome on top of this. And then I'm going to take the knob and the little screw and put that back on so I can hang that Dollar Tree lantern on it. I've been traveling alone, but now there's you. Now I grab 2 wooden dowels and I'm going to glue them to the back of this sign, and that way I can stick this sign into the floral foam in the planter box. My whole world has changed since baby, I got you. So the last thing I did was add 4 different stems inside of here. I have 3 flowers and greenery, and they are all from Dollar Tree. You can also just add greenery if you want to. What I'm going to do with this is put it outside by my front door. I have a bench that has basically 2 seats and kind of like a table in the center, and it's all connected. And I'm going to add this to the center on the table, and I think it'll be really pretty as people walk up. Onto the next DIY, what I'm going to do is use 2 of these trays. I know I'm showing 3, but I'm going to use 2. So I'm going to hot glue one of the trays on top of this one. And I'm just adding a strip of hot glue, and then I will apply that. So this was another inspired piece, and this is basically going to be like a 2-tiered planter. So the one that's on top is a little higher, and it'll stay sitting up once you see what we're going to do next. Okay, so to keep it sitting up, what I'm going to do is add some Dollar Tree craft sticks just like this, except I'm going to cut the round ends off. So I'm trying to see about how tall I need it to be, and then I will cut it and hot glue it on the side like this. And I'm going to hot glue them all along the sides on each side of the trays. Instead of making all of the craft sticks the same length, which you totally could do, I am making them all different lengths. So they're basically going up toward the top of the tray. So you see how the tray is kind of curved. I'm just going to go along with that with the craft sticks. You could do the same thing as me, or you can, like I said, do all of them the same length. Not concerned about how to live instead. Just open your eyes and take my advice. Stop rolling the dice and just compromise. It's the chance. As you can see, I used 8 craft sticks, and the 4 center ones are the only ones that are the same length. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the next bottom tiered tray, except of course it's touching the surface of the table, so they will be smaller. So I have the sides all done, and I think it looks really pretty and unique. I'm just removing some of that hot glue. And now what I'm going to do is paint the tray part of this white with my apple barrel white paint. And then on the sides where I added those crab sticks, I'm going to paint those with my antique wax. I added Spanish moss inside of each one of those trays, and then on the first tier I added some lavender flowers. So I just pull apart the lavender from the stem and the greenery and just stick them in there, and then I use 2 magnolia flowers on the top tier. Again, I just pull the flower from the stem and just lay them flat, and they're both from Dollar Tree. For DIY number 5, I'm actually using a few recycled pieces, including this Dollar Tree crate. Well, all of this is Dollar Tree. So this is a crate that I've used before. I have these 2 drawers from Dollar Tree. So each one of them come with another one inside of it. So I just have 2 of them. And then this little wooden box is actually new. I haven't used it yet. And I'm just going to remove that lid. I don't need that part for this DIY. I'm going to save it, of course. If I can reuse items, I definitely do. So I'm just going to show you real quick how I'm going to have this set up and glued together. Again, this DIY was actually a humongous piece. Just think of this, how I set it up right now, as a huge planter in your yard, in your backyard. So I've seen a huge one like this in somebody's backyard, and I thought, oh, I can make that and it'll look really cute even if it's smaller.
You wanna get to me close, why don't you do it right now? You know we're meant for a reason.
So this is why I use double boxes right here. I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue right here and add this. And I have seen on Instagram where they sell some that are tall like this, you know, that way you won't have to do double little small ones like I'm doing, but I have not found them at my Dollar Tree yet. Again, since this is recycled, I am going to cover up those 2 boxes with more craft sticks. I use about 4 on this side. That way I can cover up that damaged area, because I think I had something hot glued there and I had to remove it, and it like marked it up. And so I am going to use 4 craft sticks on this side to cover that up, and then I will paint this whole thing. Now that I have those craft sticks on, I'm going to paint this with my hazelnut chalk paint. I really didn't like the color that it had, so what I did was start to dry brush some of my cashew chalk paint over it, and I liked it much better. I really like it much better, this color. I think it's really, really pretty and a little rustic looking. So what I did was add all of these Dollar Tree flowers. On the top one, it looks like one whole planter. It doesn't look like 2 separate ones, so I really like that idea. I have that greenery in there. On the right, I have some more greenery with some white flowers, and then the bottom one, I have some lavender in there. For DIY number 6, I have 6 canvases. These are 6 by 8, and I already removed the canvases. So what I'm going to do is take 3 of them, and I'm going to show you the shape that I make with them. And again, this was another inspired piece that I saw, and I thought it would be really fun to make. And now I'm going to hot glue the 3 frames together. Remember, I had 6 of the frames, so I did 2 sets of these. The other one is going to go on top just like this. Now what we're going to do, just to give it a bottom real quickly, I'm just going to add a couple of giant craft sticks on the bottom of each of them. Okay, so to create this planter, I'm going to use these Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree, or tumbling tower blocks is what they're called. So I'm adding 1 right here, and then I think I add like 2 more on each canvas or each frame, just to show you how I'm gonna add the top piece of this to make a planter. And then once I show you, then I'm gonna go ahead and add all of the Jenga pieces. This next part with adding these tumbling tower blocks, it's a little tedious, I'm not gonna lie. It took me a while, but it's very therapeutic if you are really into DIYing and crafting, so you won't even mind it if you really love to DIY. So this is how the top piece is gonna sit on top once I'm done, just to finish it off and finish the look of it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to triple this. I'm adding 3 because I like the height of that, and then I will add that top piece of those frames. So this fits right. I'm gonna have one tumbling tower block standing up next to those 4 rows, and then I'll have another 3 laying flat like I have the other 4 rows. So just continue to watch what I'm doing and then you'll see exactly what I mean. So I have that side done, and now I'm gonna turn it, and you're just gonna go along the outside edge of the frame. So I'm gonna add more right here, and I kind of just lay them out first before hot gluing. You kind of just want to maneuver them the way they're gonna fit on there so it looks like it all goes together and it's not just pieces of blocks there. Now that I have that whole side done, I'm gonna move to the narrow part of this planter. And for this side, since I do have those large crab sticks sitting on the frames, these 3 that I'm adding right here, or 6 that I'm adding, they're gonna be a little bit higher. So I'm only gonna do 6 right here. So I just did the exact same thing that I just showed you on the opposite sides, just making sure everything fit right. Now for the last thing, you see how that just finishes it off? You're not going to be able to see the middle areas of this to where it looks like 3 different frames, if that makes sense. I'm going to cover all that up with greenery that I'm going to add in here. So I'm going to put those Dollar Tree ferns in here. Again, you can add whatever you want. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is just hot glue this on, and then we can go and add those Dollar Tree ferns. I really like the way this one came out. The ferns look so nice in here, very high-end looking. So what I did was just, again, remove the ferns from the stems and just set them all in here. So this would look really pretty with even some colorful flowers. I just thought the ferns look nice in here because of the contrast. So I hope you like this DIY, and let's move on to the last one. So you made it to the last DIY. Thank you so much. If you're still here, leave me an emoji in the comments and let me know that you're still watching. So for this 7th and final DIY, I'm using these 4 Dollar Tree items. I have 2 trays and 2 signs. And I'm going to use my hazelnut chalk paint to paint over this whole part of the sign except for the chalkboard areas. And we're gonna let that dry, and I did 2 coats. Once those were dry, I am now going to assemble this together. It's real easy. All I did was hot glue the sides of the tray to those 2 signs. So the top tray is gonna go like this, but I'm gonna make sure I cover those 2 holes up there with that tray. So I'm gonna add hot glue right here and place that on there so it stays up there. And don't worry, I'm gonna show you a way to keep this secure. That way you can add, flowers at the top, even though whatever you put at the top is not gonna weigh a lot. You just want it to be secure. So I'm going to flip this upside down, take 2 Jenga blocks and add them to the bottom, making sure I add hot glue to the side and to the bottom of that Jenga block so that way it is secure and it won't fall. So to cover up the 2 holes on the outside, I'm gonna add a bead on each side. So a wooden bead. I have told y'all millions of times in my videos that I get these Amazon beads from Amazon. And well, I've had this huge 1,000 pack of Amazon beads for, I don't even know, I'm gonna say a year or two. I have never bought it more than once. So if you want to buy some beads, I have them linked down in my Amazon store. The last thing I did was just take that chalk writer from Dollar Tree and I wrote grow on one side and plant on the other side. You can definitely put whatever you want. So I have another Dollar Tree lantern at the top with a small little flower pot with some greenery in there. At the bottom, I added some black little rocks from Dollar Tree and just some more little greenery from Dollar Tree in there. So everything's Dollar Tree. Thank you so much again for watching, especially if you stayed till the end. I appreciate that so much. It means the world to me. Y'all are the best. I love my viewers. Thank you for being so supportive and so sweet. I cannot say that enough. Until the next video, I will see y'all next time.
I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my